So if someone told you their dream and it sounded probably outlandish to you, you question whether or not they could do it, would you tell them in that moment that you're crazy? Why would you even think of that? You can't do that. You have no history of that. You grew up in this environment. You did this in the past. And if they started doing whatever that it is they want to do, and they started, in your eyes, failing, or maybe they're not accomplishing what they set forth, that it's taking a little bit longer, would you then encourage them to quit? Would you encourage them to seek other avenues of expression? Would you then say they're crazy? Would you then tell them to give up? Would you then tell them it's not working, so give up? So the question becomes, are you enabling dreams, or are you suppressing them? And if you are suppressing them, is it because of your own fears and your own self-doubt and your own perceived failures that something didn't work for you, so therefore it's not going to work for them? I spoke to a previous client of mine. So, she was preparing for NCLEX, and she actually texted me the day that she took her exam, and she said she was trying to hold on, and that others were telling her if nursing was for her. And I told her, I replied, because I knew where she was coming from. I had just done a recording a couple of days or so ago about, not letting a test define you. Many of the people that I've worked with regarding NCLEX are licensed, nursing graduates who are preparing for their licensure exam. And many of them that I work with have been on their second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to their 10th try and trying to pass their exam. And she was one of them. She was a multiple test taker. And it took her a little bit longer than she wanted. And she found out that what we've been talking about, what I had been sharing with her, was something that she needed to do. So often, and especially if we have fear people that are talking to us, people that are holding on to fear, not fear people, but people that are holding on to fear, sometimes their fear can become our fears. We can start doubting ourselves and wondering if something is for us, especially if we are not producing what we want to produce, whether it's money, whether it's whatever it is, that it seems not to be moving, right? The progress. But we have to understand that worldly progress is not the same as spiritual progress. I'll speak about that in a moment. But anyway, she had texted me and I said, you listen to the voice within. And that's what I left it with. And she thanked me for it. On March 4th, I received a text on this past Friday. And I could tell there were results. And the first thing I saw was just a bunch of tears flowing. And I was like, And I was trying to see the results, and I felt like I was making it harder than what it was. And I just slowly, because maybe I was a little anxious for her, and I slowly saw that she passed. And I called her and I said, what you crying for? What you crying for now? And, we talked about how people were telling her to give up, basically. And I said, you have to forgive them, because often we tell people that because we want to protect them. We want to protect them from the harm, from the struggle, from being booed, from not succeeding, what family members may say, friends may say about you. And we feel like we want to protect them. And we are unknowingly sowing doubt weeds, unknowingly sowing fear weeds into the person. And that can impact how they study if they allow those weeds to come within their internal garden. And so instead of suppressing, because if you suppress another's dream, if you share your fears and your worries and your doubts, then you're actually doing it to yourself. because maybe at some point you were told no, that your dream was not going to happen. You were not supported, that people shared their doubts, their fears with you and told you other things. You're not good enough. You can't do it. Do you know what the world is like? Black people don't succeed. You know, just a bunch of that stuff that often parents, especially, we do it because we think we'll protect our children. And in essence, it could bring about a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of frustration, even sibling rivalry, especially if you weren't able to succeed and you saw someone else given the opportunity, or go after your goals and you saw someone else given the opportunity. So we have to be careful as parents. We have to be careful because what we truly believe about ourselves, we will share with others. So if we believe that success is possible, if we believe that we were born to succeed, we were born to win, if we believe that anything is possible, then we're less likely to shoot down somebody else's dreams, somebody else's hopes, somebody else's vision. You know, I would listen and people would tell me stuff and I'd be like, okay. I was in Burlington, one of the stores, and a girl was sharing, the cashier was sharing how she wants to do things. Do you envision people as they are speaking what they're doing? Do you ask for guidance, for wisdom? Do you see the possibilities? Because if you see the possibilities in others, you see them in yourself. And we have to be careful when we shoot down others' dreams. Because again, we're out of the heart, the mouth speaks. And what we do to others, what we say to others, eventually comes back to us. And one of the things that I've said to help with integrity, because I remember it was something I saw as a child where someone didn't tell the truth about something happened. And I said, I can't do that. And one of the things that you can say is that what I say to you, I say to myself. And that will help keep you accountable of what you say. Because the word tells us, scripture tells us in the Bible that, you know, whatever you do, you have first done to yourself. And I believe that's so true because you are sharing already your own thoughts about who you are, about success. And when we're talking about fulfilling our divine purpose, it's not about the circumstances that we grew up in. As you have seen, many people have thrived. It's not about how long it will take you. As you see, many people didn't get success. I have a book that many people did not succeed, worldly success, until they were like after 50. That we're so quick to shoot down others' dreams and not realizing that God does not fail. Love does not fail. That we stay in tune, and we keep working and we persevere and have the determination and believe and have faith. Don't be afraid. That's one of my Bible verses. Don't be afraid. Just believe. Believe. And when we believe in ourselves, we believe in others. We encourage them. We help keep them accountable. Didn't you say you were going to do this? You know, one of the things my mother said was, don't talk me to death. I would tell her stuff that I would want to do. And she would quickly, tell us, or even my brothers, don't talk me to death. Do it. You say you're going to do it, then do it. Don't sit up here and just keep talking about it. So enabling people's dreams is helping to keep them accountable, is sharing knowledge. If you have information, maybe God can place somebody in your life and say, hey, I'm needing someone who can do this banquet. And you just heard a friend say, I wish I had a banquet. We share that information. Hey, I may have somebody for you. Let me see if I can give you her contact number or his contact number and you guys can talk. You know, it's this whole divisiveness, generational cycle of pain that we have to be what you call crabs in a bucket, that if you succeed, I look bad. Therefore, I can't let you succeed. I have to tear you down. So you'll have a longer time getting up out of the bucket. That's not what we were created for. Everybody has specific gifts and talents, abilities, dancing, singing, writing, speaking, baking cakes, t-shirts, doing hairstylists, whatever it may be, nursing, whatever it may be. We are not here to tear others down. We are here to build people up. As independent contractors, we can all work together where someone has a specific skill that we need. Often when you're doing your business, you want a lawyer, your own CPA, financial taxes person, maybe your own doctor. We were here to be, I believe, deployed, as Dr. Miles Monroe talked about, independent contractors, where we basically have people that we work with that can fill a need, a skill that we need in our practice. And I know that the divisiveness, what I talked about last week on Create a Generational Love Cycle podcast, you can listen to my podcast, Create a Generational Love Cycle. I talk about the seeds we plant on Wednesdays. And now I'm talking about weeds like anger, divisiveness. Last week I talked about prejudice and how it's affected us. And then also just recently put out about healing from the inside out, how my mother told me that what is for you, you will get. And I believed her. And that changed how I saw my experiences, how I grappled with the adversities, quote unquote, the definition, adversities in my life is majority of that using my mother's principles. She was the spiritual garden that I needed to transcend a lot of the things that I went through, and to not consider myself a statistic, to go beyond that, to have a better way of thinking. And I'm looking forward to sharing those in the Mother's Words of Wisdom. My plan is to get it out, the updated version, by Mother's Day. So I'm hoping to do that. I have a few beta readers that are reading that for me. But it's the guidance that we need, and that can help us to remember who we are, that we're not our experiences. That's where I get it from. My mother, what's she telling? We're not our experiences. We're in control of our lives. We can create the family we want. We don't have to use tradition and how other people did things. Often we want to carry stuff on from one family to another, one generation to another, and we're upset at our parents, or we're bitter how they handle things, and yet still you want to carry it to the next generation because I went through it, you should go through. That's more of a bitterness mentality than it is a helpful mentality, betterment mentality. But this divisiveness that we have in the world has hurt so many cultures, races, religions, and that we're against each other instead of for each other. That we rather withhold information instead of sharing information, that we rather tell people, well, don't do that, and keep people bounded, do this instead. Instead of really saying, hey, you know what? I believe in you. Your life has purpose. You're here for divine reasons. If you are a writer, write. If you are a speaker, speak. If you're a coach, coach. If you said you're going to do this, and I had a breakthrough, someone had a breakthrough, or someone did that I held them accountable, and they made a call, and they got a meeting. So the thing is that we have to encourage people. There's too much divisiveness going on. There's too much of envy and jealousy when we realize that God is for us all, that he wants us all to succeed, have an abundant life. It's not just Jim, Jerry, Tom, Billy, Richard, Demetrius. Hey, brothers, it's more about everybody succeeding, born to win, have the Spirit of God in them, have gifts, talents, and abilities, intermingle with our experiences. That's how we know our purpose. And even though there are experiences that you've had that that really made you rethink God, and not in a positive way, in a negative way, know that everything that you have experienced feeds into your purpose, feeds into you remembering who you are, feeds into that you are in control of your mind, that you purify your heart, that you nourish the God within you, you forgive, you move forward, you persevere, you use time wisely, your energy wisely, your money wisely, that we need reminders of who we are, and not reminders of who we're, of falsehoods and false identities, and we are our experiences, and we can't outlive our past. Yes, we can. So if anybody is still trying to ground you in your past, you are this, you were this, you're still this. No, I'm not. because that was never my reality. Those were choices that I made. And now I'm making brand new choices, choices that align me with the spirit within, with our creator, choices that align me with my purpose, choices that I'm embracing and nourishing and expressing the gifts that God gave me, that I am going to help build others up instead of tear them down, that I'm going to speak my truth, and that I know that it's not too late for me to get involved. It's not too late. And the only reason why I think it's too late is because it's my thought process and it's not reality. So one of the other things that I wanted to touch base on real quick was that often we can think that we're separated from others, or we start thinking, well, maybe these people aren't the ones I should be hanging around with. And we start to think that we're separated, that we're lonely, we're isolated. And often God is to bring us closer. Our circumstances, our change in environment is to bring us closer to God, to weed out the distractions, to weed out the noise, the busybody stuff, and to get us silent and to seek his wisdom and his guidance. So if you feel like you need to make a change in your environment, the people that you're hanging out with, not everybody will be on the same level that you are. It's not to feel bad about yourself. It's not to feel bad about them, because them seeing you doing your work may help shine the light in their house, in their inner garden, that, you know what, maybe there's something that I need to be doing too. So often we want to hold ourselves back, but we need to push forward so people can see their truth through us. All right. So other than that, make this a fantastic week. I do this on Mondays, heart to heart. Typically try to. Holidays, sometimes I don't. But to know that you don't have to be a statistic. The heart is the center of joy. It is the fertile soil of our inner garden, that we sow seeds that are, we can sow righteous seeds, unrighteous seeds. We can sow seeds or weeds, seed weeds of anger, guilt, shame, or we can do love and compassion and forgiveness. And that is the fruit of the Spirit. So do know your inner garden is supposed to be a peaceful abode, somewhere where you can come to every day to unite, to align with the source of life. But it's when we allow when we allow negative emotions consistently to rob us of our spiritual fruit, that starve us of our spiritual fruit, is when we end up suffering. We're not here to suffer. We're here to express, to reflect the truth that is in us. All right, take care of yourself. Make this lifetime great. You deserve an abundant life. You were promised an abundant life, a prosperous life, no harm, but to give you hope in the future. I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself and love those that love all, not just the ones that are good to you, but the ones that need to see love.